On behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight, welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
Every opportunity that I get to talk to some A or more professionals, especially airmen, I take and I appreciate. And especially today, because this young man, Senior Master Sergeant Breyson Robinson, is one of my proteges. I hope that he counts himself as a protege that I met at the Air Force Academy. He walked into my office and blew my mind because he knew he had read my book, the chief book, and knew more about it than I did. I'd forgotten what I'd written. He was telling me what I had written. But anyway, good to see you, little brother Breyson Robinson, and congratulations on making Senior Master Sergeant. If you remember when we first met, I said, you hang with the chief and you'll get promoted. That's the truth, man. That's the truth. So now we're just waiting for you to make chief.
Goodness, I'm honestly, Chief, I'm just making it day by day. But I appreciate the invitation. Thank you for having me. And also congratulations to you on your recognition at the Air Force Academy. For all of the many years of contributions that you've made to the students as well as the faculty. That was awesome to see. I wish I could have made it down there for your recognition, but definitely excited for that opportunity for you.
Uh,
So congratulations.
yeah, thank you, thank you. Although I'm still looking for the parking spot, man. I want that designated parking spot at the BX, and they don't got one. I don't know. Things have changed,
Missed
I guess.
opportunity.
Missed
Missed
opportunity.
opportunity, Chief. That's all that is.
Now, Senior, how long have you been in service?
So I'm currently at 16 years in the Air Force, and August 14th will make 17.
Okay.
So it's crazy. I blinked, and we're already at this point. So I still remember the day that I got on that bus at basic training.
Yeah.
So it's pretty insane to think that almost 17 years have already passed by. It's been filled with so many memories. Some I've forgotten probably more than I can remember,
Yeah. Yeah.
things that were just fleeting thoughts. But it's been an awesome ride, and I'm still looking forward to, definitely many more. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see where this roller coaster takes us.
Yeah. You're just a baby, so and that's a good thing.
That's
And
right.
now I know you're down in Florida somewhere, and but you're a services guy, right? I know you've done some. What is it? Those were you an AMT and you've done some other things, protocol and all that, but a services guy for the most part.
Yes, sir. So I'm actually currently stationed in Georgia.
Oh,
The moment
Georgia.
I got my line number, I was deployed and I got my line number for senior. They were doing the whole senior leveling process, making sure that all the seniors were spread out across the positions. And I came back for my deployment and this was back in June. And I had already had an assignment picking up my family, moving out in September. So uh, doing that, I am services by trade. Shout out to all the 3F1s out there. I absolutely love what I do. It was by accident, honestly, that I ended up in services, but I believe that nothing happens because of an accident. Everything is on purpose, everything is purposeful. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've made in my career. So I absolutely love it. I've had the opportunity to step outside of the career field a number of times, be it drill and ceremonies superintendent at the Air Force Academy, be it NCOIC of AFSOC protocol down at Hobart Field, dorm management, did a year-long tour with Thompson Blue in 2010. Like I've had many opportunities just to step out and really see the Air Force from a very wide lens. And, I definitely don't take those opportunities for granted. I appreciate each and every one of them because they built me into who I am today. Not just a services senior NCO, but a Air Force senior NCO and, someone with a broad scope of the Department of Defense as a whole. So
Yeah.
definitely grateful for those opportunities.
Yeah, well, your whole career like started as an accident, man. You went to the wrong place your first assignment.
I did. I did.
And you should write a
I
book
did.
on that. Okay, I
I
had to plug that.
should.
Yes, yes, we've been working on this book that will get done soon. But that's how the first story that you ended up in. What was it? Was it Minot, and you were supposed to go to uh, Effie Warren or something like that?
Yes, sir. So I was supposed to end up at my original orders were to go to Malmstrom, and a
Malmstrom.
couple weeks before graduation, they rediverted everyone who had orders to Malmstrom over to Minot. But I had already had my orders in hand. turned my orders in and everything, got my plane tickets, flew where I was supposed to go, and I ended up at Malmstrom, and I wasn't even supposed to be there. But just through a long string of fortunate circumstances, they ended up keeping me, and that's where I met, honestly, some of the best airman leaders that I had ever met. I was just surrounded by really sharp senior airmen that, helped to mold me and put me on the right path and keep me out of trouble and all of that. And, I'm better off for it now. And I still talk to those people to this day. Some of them are senior master sergeants as well now. Some of them have separated and moved on to other things, but all of them had a role to play in who I am today. And we had a lieutenant colonel retirement a few weeks ago, and he said, "We don't stand on the shoulders of giants, but we stand amongst titans." And that's kind of how I feel. In that moment, I was standing amongst titans and I had no idea, but they were training me and building me in that moment to who I am today. So
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciative.
In our perspective, your perspective, and I support it. And the book is, I think, titled uh, "You Lead from the Center." You don't lead from the front or the back or anything. You lead from the center. And again, we've had those conversations. If you don't know what's happening around you, you're not going to be very good at it. Which that is an effective leader when he or she knows what's around them. So, you listeners, look forward to that book in the next year or so. I'm going to make him write it, whether he likes it or not, and you will like it. That's the old way,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
So, when we met, Senior, the way we met, I was sitting in my office at the Air Force Academy, minding somebody else's. No, wait a minute, minding my own business. Actually, it was somebody else's business, but nonetheless. And then you walked in because you had my book, So You Want to Be the Chief, in your hand. This is how we met the very first time, through the book, and that's why I wanted to interview you about that. Uh, and I think Chief Johnson had given you a copy, right? Is that the senior
Absolutely.
uh, command chief? I guess he was a command chief or something. And then you came up, and
Hmm.
we struck a relationship immediately. And we're both percussionists. You're a drummer, and a great drummer, by the way. I love how you play. And of course, you need more cymbal. You always need more cymbal. We've talked a lot about
Always.
that. Always. But
Always.
I know you've read the book several times, and the idea of this interview, Senior, is to help the new chiefs out there that maybe need some mentoring. And I already have given you a chief's coin because you're going to be a chief. But out of those 12 lessons, which one do you think is most important to make an effective chief?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure if I can pick one. And the reason why I say that is that being a chief is really about a culmination of your experiences and understanding the experiences of other people. And this is one of the things that I drew instantly from the book when I read it the first time through, is that you gain the lessons that you need to learn throughout your career and throughout your life. We were all raised in particular households, right? That really instill in us those values, those morals, and ethical behaviors that we hold true to ourselves. And so when we come into the service and we put on the uniform, those are the ethical behaviors that we bring in with us. Then we start to learn that the people around us and their experiences help to mold us as well, right? And I'll give you a prime example of this. I was at Malmstrom Air Force Base. I had just gotten off of tour in 2011. I made staff while I was on tour, and I showed up, and there was a young senior airman who came up to me and said, "Hey, sir, you are going to be my supervisor." And I was like, "Well, how do you know that? Like, we never even met." He was like, "I want you to be my supervisor. I've heard about you. I want you to be my supervisor." I was like, "Well, I don't think that's the way it works, but let's have a conversation." So I went TDY for a few weeks. I came back, and he ended up being my troop. And I'll never forget it. I was like, "How did you manage this? How did you work this? Who did you talk to?" And I guess he had the right conversations with the right people. And so we sat down at our initial feedback, and I asked him the question, "What is it that you want out of this? Right? What is it that you want to achieve from your service? What is the foundation that you're trying to build for your family, for yourself?" And he said, well, honestly, sir, I just want to get my degree and I want to get out. That's what he said. I just want to get my degree in IT, and I don't see myself putting in many more years of service after that. Now, to be honest, when I heard that, I was a little taken back. Like, wow, like you want to get out? You're already planning your exit strategy. What's that about? Ethically, that went against what I knew to be right. I was like, okay, this is not normal. This is not what I was expecting. What's wrong with this? So I took it home, I digested it a little bit, and I started to ask myself, like, why do I believe that his future relies on the uniform that he wears? Why do I believe that? And it rattled me a little bit. And, after going back and forth, I said, you know what? Whatever it is that this airman wants to achieve, if it's going to make him better, it's my job to pave that way for him. Regardless of what I personally feel, it's my job to make him ready. So we start clearing everything out. I make sure that he has certain days that, he can get off and make sure his homework is done, make sure that he can get home to take care of his family, make sure that his wife has the availability to do her grocery shopping and everything so that he can get home and focus on his studies. Like, we did everything. And he ended up, getting his degree. I remember when he graduated and he got out, and that was a huge accomplishment for me. Even though he separated from the service that I was committed to, he was better off for it. And now I look at him and he's doing incredibly well in the IT field. He has a great foundation set for his family. They're financially stable. They're doing very well. And he has this beautiful family that he's been able to build from his decisions that he made in the past. Now, as I look at the book and as I look at the kind of chief that I want to be when that day eventually comes for me, I'm thinking about someone who paves the way for others to achieve their desires. Not, I'm not looking for a position to influence others to achieve my goals. That's not what this is about, right? And I say it all the time in my talks that there's no such thing as a selfless deed. Everything that we do, there's going to be some benefit in what it is that we do. Whether it's I'm volunteering my time to feed people. Well, when I feed people, I feel joy. I feel excitement. So there's a benefit for me, right? No matter what we do, there's a benefit for us. I really get a benefit out of seeing other people achieve their goals. And that's really what I want to focus on. And that's the kind of chief that I want to be. I love that in the book is entitled "So You Want to Be the Chief," and it's a question like, "Are you sure you want to be the chief? Like, is this really what you want to do?"
Right.
Because if this is what you want to do, there are some sacrifices you have to make, and there are some lessons that you need to learn, and they're going to be either very difficult lessons for you to learn, or they're going to be easy, seamless lessons. It's up to you. You decide how well this path is going to go for you, right? And I think just giving into the process and realizing, you know what, this is what it's going to be. I need to remain flexible. I need to remain malleable, but I also need to maintain an element of high standards for my people. Regardless of what it is that you want to do, the standard is high. I'm going to continue to hold that bar high. I'm not going to drop it just to watch you achieve it. I'm going to hold it high and watch you reach for it, because that's what you're going to grow from. So my biggest takeaways from the book is not necessarily a particular lesson, but it's more so the approach towards becoming a influential chief, right? Not just wearing the rank or being in the position, but being a chief of influence. That was my biggest takeaway from the entire book.
My mantra has been for years creating air power, HEIR power, and that when you find someone, an heir, you found me, that's just the way it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But I consider you an heir, and I hope that in our relationship, I've always supported you in doing whatever it is that you want to do. But I think, Senior, the key is if we're going to be effective, especially as chiefs, is that we have a common purpose. And our common purpose, although I'm not sure, and I mean, you can tell me, be honest with me, I don't know that we think about it often enough. You and I did, I think, at the Air Force Academy because we had these discussions. But the purpose for airmen has to be to support and defend the Constitution of the United States by being a good airman, right? Our fly, fight, and win, I think, is still our motto. Whatever that means, and it can change a little bit. But the idea is that we're protecting the country and we're willing to give our lives for that. Now, how does that, your personal life, uh, like this young man, how does that fit into what we as a corporation, not a corporation, as an entity, as a team, need to do in protecting the country? And I think that's key if we can get to that point, because and I don't think you and I ever talked about it, but really that's the way I think our relationship is and grows. That I will do everything, and that everything and anything that I can to help you grow into the person that is going to help others develop air power, so that we can protect our country and maintain it. And again, I don't know that we talk about those things, and if we don't talk about them, that's because we haven't thought about them. And I think we need to think about them a little bit more.
Absolutely. And me and you have talked a little bit. There was a course that I was taking that was talking about Mr. Pink, right? Uh, he's a great, TED Talk speaker. He used to be a speechwriter for, I want to say I want to say it was the first Bush administration, or um, one of the presidential administrations. But Dan Pink is awesome at drawing the bridge between personal desires and organizational effectiveness. Like, he tying those two things together is what builds influence, but what brings motivation out of people. And we've had that conversation. Like, we don't motivate people. We don't do that. That's not our job. People already have motivations. It's our job to tie the the ultimate desire to that person's motivations, right? And
And the way I
I
put it
think
is
that
inspire them to motivate themselves. Because
exactly.
and yes, we have had this conversation. If
Mhm.
if that young man was motivated to do something different than you expected, right? The old thinking, the old days would, like you were saying, was first in your mind. How dare he? He needs to be me. He needs to aspire to be me. And somewhere
Right.
along the way, you were smart enough to say, "Wait a minute, that's not so." And
Mhm.
one of the things that I used to, somewhere I quit thinking about this. I need to go back to thinking about it. But one of the things that we create, senior, as airmen, as military folks, is good citizens. If and that's okay. So for someone to serve 4 years, 5 years, whatever, and go on, as long, and I don't know that you can help but become a good citizen in the military, because we teach you those things, the right things. And everyone that I know that has done that has been stellar. They go out and do great stuff and take care of others and all, service and all that, all the things that we wanted them to do in the military, because they learned that they were in that environment and that culture. So that's okay. But then again, but on the other hand, like, you if you can't force anybody you can't motivate anybody. Breyson, come here. Let me motivate you. Sit down. Yeah, sure. Oh, you already shut me off. It's like, what?
Right.
And other words that you can't use online, but been there, done that. But so, but if you can inspire them to motivate themselves, like that young man, you did inspire him to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish and beyond. So I think, again, sometimes, depending on where how you were brought up, yeah, you can be, what is that, the old crusty old chief if you want, but nobody appreciates that anymore. And you don't want to be too soft either, but you want to be
Right.
able to hug people and guide them. Hey, let's do what you want to do, and let's see how that fits into integrity, service, and excellence. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Absolutely. I think today's generation of airmen, they really need the pedestal completely removed. They don't need the soapbox. They don't need the pedestal. They're looking at your actions, and I think that social media and technology has really opened the doors for that. So it's enabled us to have a greater connection with our airmen, but also it reveals everything, right? It shows if you're really about what you say on your soapbox. You know what I mean? And I think that we can really separate ourselves, us being, senior NCOs, even chiefs, can separate themselves from the rest of their team when they just become so untouchable and they just become so high and mighty and so perfect. And your people are looking at you like, man, that's unattainable. I can never reach that. I can never be that. But they don't know that when you take the uniform off and you go home, you're experiencing the same things that they are. But you don't talk about that. You don't touch on that. You just touch on, you know, core values and excellence in all we do and perfection is the standard and this unattainable standard that people don't feel like they can ever reach. So why try? And I think, Chief, to go back to your point about you know, the Constitution of the United States and to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, we have to understand that people's reasonings and their roads to get there are completely different. And for us to come in and say, hey, we support and defend the Constitution of the United States by doing this and only this, we really shut ourselves off from a lot of the possibilities and a lot of the aspirations, the inspirations, the motivations that people have for why they join the Air Force in the first place or the military in the first place. So I think understanding those unique, circumstances about people is key to really being a chief, being an effective chief, and being able to bring out that inspiration to give to them so that they can then be motivated to do whatever it is that we're asking them to do. And I kind of start a lot of my talks with a very controversial statement, but I really believe that it's true, is that until you give in your people the opportunity to get to know them, you haven't earned the right to influence their decisions. You have not earned it. Now, does your position warrant you some right to influence the decision? Of course. And we're in the Department of Defense. So your rank gives you authority to influence decision. I get it. But have you earned it? Have you truly earned it by giving them the opportunity of getting to know them, understanding their why, understanding why they put on the uniform every day, understanding their family, understanding their motivations, their aspirations, and their goals? If you haven't, then you're only tapping into a small part of that influence that you're given, and it's really just positional, right? You're really relying on that positional influence, and that's all that you're using. Whereas you can really connect with the person and really, get to know the person and see where they lack, and they can see where you lack and see where they can help you out. You know what I mean? It can be so much more than just do as I say and get it done, which is how we came up. You know what I mean? I came up in that. Right. Do it because I said so. And that was perfectly fine for me. I'm like, sure, you pay me, so I'm going to do it.
Well, that was enough. And you know that especially in the profession of arms, there are times when you have to do that. There are times as a leader when you got to tell people you have to be directional. Let's go do this way. Whether it's my way, it doesn't matter. This is the way we have to do it because that's the way it is. But that's not always the case. And I think, again, Senior, the key for that will be well, let me tell you a real quick story, and then I can make the point. I'm sitting at my desk at Ramstein Air Base. I'm about a month away from retirement, and my boss, Colonel Norman, a female, I hear her because she wears shoes that are real like a TI, like taps, but they're not. But that's how she sounds coming down the hallway, and then she goes past my office, and I'm doing my paperwork for retiring. Doing the forms and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, as she passes my office, she says, "Chief, let's go." And I'm looking up and I say, whoa, wait a minute. I'm about out, man. I've served 31 years. I don't need, come on, boss, don't bother me. I'm doing this paperwork, That's what's going through my mind. But I'm a better soldier than that. I'm a better warrior than that. So I stopped doing whatever I was doing and I head off with her. Now, and it so happened that there was something that happened in one of our housing areas, and she was the group commander, and she had to be on scene. She was the commander on scene and had to be there because it was a fire. So all of a sudden, all kind of stuff is happening, and I'm right there with her. And it's like, and I'm glad I was with her because I needed to be with her, advising her, doing the stuff that we needed to do, protect people and all that kind of stuff. And then later I thought, well, the reason I was willing to do that, to put my stuff down, because I probably could have said, ma'am, I'm busy, I can't do it. But the reason was we had that talk. We had that talk several times. Chief, when this happens, I need you that, whatever it is, this has to be the priority, blah, blah, blah. So I knew when she told me that this was not normal, something happened, I needed to react. And so it does happen when we have to be directive. Let's go right now, follow me. And it doesn't matter whether we're in the military or not, as followers, we need to be ready for that. When that happens, but the leader, the good leader, the good chief, I think, has had these conversations. Guys, I mean, I'm sure you do it. Services, man, sometimes, I mean, I know some of the work that you've done. Uh, you have to have that. You have to be able to tell your followers, let's go right now, because I don't have time to tell you, but we got to go. And they have to be good enough followers to support that. And let's go. The boss wants us. We need us. The senior has to, we'll talk to it about it later, but we've talked about the importance of it right before we even got there. So, and I'm not sure that everybody does that, and especially a chief. I think you're right. You can't separate yourself. Again, you got to be in the middle. You got to be in it, drinking coffee, having a Coke or something with them, getting to know them, what's going on in your life, how can I help you, all of that stuff. So it is from the center, senior. It really is. So um, anyway, we're running out of time, and as we do that, let me tell you. So are you? Where in Georgia are you? You said you were in Georgia. Then I thought you were in Florida.
Yes, sir. So I'm in Valdosta. I'm at Moody Air Force Base.
Moody, okay,
In
Moody.
Valdosta.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so are you staying there for a little bit, or on your way somewhere else? Where do
Who knows?
I did some work for NSA, so I can find you.
Who
Yeah,
knows, Chief? I mean, the way that it's working right now is at this level, we really only spend maybe a couple years
yeah,
in assignment, and then we're off to the next. So I'm just trying to remain ready. A lot of opportunities have come my way already to move, and I'm like, hey guys, I just got here, and they're like,
yeah,
well, I mean, that's the senior life at this
yep,
point.
yep,
Just be ready. So I'm just ready for whatever opportunity comes my way. But right now, my focus is my team and us getting ready for this upcoming tasking and just being the best senior for them
yeah.
that I can be. So that's the focus right now. And then after we get back, then I'll look to see what other pastures are out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, and your lovely bride is also what? She's a master sergeant now, right?
correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Still teaching ALS, or is she doing something else now?
No, so she's actually as a master sergeant in medical, they can be SELs. So she's actually a senior enlisted leader for a squadron now.
Oh, okay. All right.
On Moody's. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and two boys. You got two sons.
Mhm.
Okay. Take
Yep.
care of them. This is one of the most important lessons ever for anybody. Take care of your family. They need you. Yeah, I know striking a balance is tough. You got to,
Mhm.
sometimes you got to do more of this, sometimes you got to do more of that. But nonetheless, do what you have to do to take care of that family. So, um,
Absolutely.
Senior Master Sergeant Breyson Robinson, man, out there at Moody Air Force Base. Thank you, man, for all that you do. And it's been a pleasure knowing you. How long have we known each other? About 5, 6 years, something like that.
Yeah, I got there in 2019.
Is that
I want to
yeah,
say I got
yeah,
there in 2019, from 2019 to 22. So yeah,
yeah.
it's been about 5 years now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we'll keep
Mhm.
that friendship going. And if you need me to come yell at you, I can still do that. I'm not even under the UCMJ anymore, man. I can do what I want. But God bless you, man. You stay safe. Take care of your troops. I know you're going to do that. And if you ever need me, you know I'm here, because it's all about air power, HEIR power.
Absolutely, Chief. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
God bless you.
Yes, sir. God bless you.